Hey, Joey Starr here for Starr Quality Kitchen. Today I will be reviewing Mila soup dumplings. I picked up a couple of flavors from deccico&sons. I noticed a couple of my favorite foodies expressing how much they enjoy them, plus a ton of internet ads, and you'll probably see them now too. And not for nothing, but I am a pretty big fan of dumplings. So let's head to the kitchen and make them. There's actually a good handful of flavors that Mila offers for their soup dumplings, and as tough as the choice was, I'll always try the pork dumplings no matter what from any brand. And I also picked the chicken because I'm not used to seeing Asian chicken soup dumplings, so I consider that kind of a unique opportunity. Mila does provide really good instructions on how to make your soup dumplings. It says some water to boil. They even include a steamer liner for you. How freaking cool is that? When waiting for the dumplings to cook, provides me with an excellent opportunity to prepare a couple of dipping sauces. A little sesame oil, some vinegar, some soy sauce. Stir that bad boy up. Get a little taste. That's gonna be delightful. In the other bowl, get some hot chili oil, bit of soy sauce. Stir that bad boy up. Get a taste. Add more soy sauce. Another taste. Perfection. Voila, my dumplings are ready. Take a look at them beauties, huh? Yeah, they're not too bad. Not as large as I like coming out of a restaurant, but then again, I'm not in a restaurant, am I? This is a frozen dumpling, so I'm not expecting a restaurant of Flushing dumplings here, am I? So I got my pork dumplings, I got my chicken dumplings. A little close up, please. Nice steam coming off of there. Doesn't seem to have a terrible lot of soup in there, because I mean, it's not like it's fully inflated, but it's hard to say because the dough around the outside of the dumpling, it's not very translucent. Although if I look at the bottom, I can see a little bit of liquid swishing around in there. So I got some high hopes. Typically what I do is I like to try dumpling as is. I'm just gonna bite a little bit off the top here, or actually it looks like I'm starting to poke a hole in it already. So tender skin, I kind of poked through with my chopstick already. Let me go ahead and take a slurp. Broth is really good. Nice pork flavor, not overly salty, a bit of umami. I gotta admit, for a frozen dumpling, it does taste kind of fresh. And one of the things that I noticed that Mila brags about on their website is that they're fully authentic, they use fresh ingredients, they go out of their way to give you the quality that goes beyond a typical frozen dumpling. They're hoping to get as close as possible to sitting down at your Chinese grandma's house to have some dumplings. So I took a slurp. Let me see. There's really not a lot. There's not a ton of soup in there, but there's some soup in there. I'm gonna take a little bite here. All right, so that bite was just the skin. The skin's tasty. It's tender. Got a nice flavor to it. It is a little thicker than I like, but it's tasty in there. And you're looking here, a little close up, you can see there's a big old meatball made of pork. I dig the aroma. The aroma is very authentic. Let me go ahead and take a bite of just the filling. Nice pork flavor. I like the color of it too. Got a nice authentic pork color. I can see a little bit of scallion inside there. Let me go ahead and get a bit of pork and skin. Now it's all falling apart. Let me just eat it like a Neanderthal here. Let me go ahead and get a bit of the skin and pork together. That's actually really tasty. Yeah, for a frozen dumpling, that's pretty good. Good. Nice umami flavor, not overly salted. The meat was tender, nice chew to it. I didn't really taste the scallion. There wasn't a ton of scallion in there, but that's okay. I mean, the flavor is definitely there. If someone was to make this the proper way and put this on a plate and served it to me and said, oh, I made these dumplings, it wouldn't be much of a stretch to believe them. So next what I want to try is, I want to eat this a little more of a traditional way. I want to go ahead and put this dumpling up on this Chinese soup spoon. And I'm gonna just take a little nibble off the top. I'm gonna try not to break the skin here with my chopsticks. I did open the top, as you see here. So my one knock on this so far is that there's not a ton of soup in there. And I don't know how reasonable it is for a frozen soup dumpling to expect it to be full like it would be if you went to a nice, authentic restaurant, but it is something I expect. I mean, there's soup in there. Let's see, let me just go ahead and see how much soup is in one of these suckers. Yeah, all right, so I just dumped what little soup was in there. It's like maybe half a teaspoon worth. It's really not a lot. I wanna go ahead and just add a little bit of my basic dipping sauce, pour it into the dumpling there. The amount of dipping sauce I put in there is about the equivalent of how much soup should have been in there. So the taste is probably not gonna be even because the way I poured it is the way I would when there's a lot of soup in there, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and try it. Oh yeah. Sesame oil and soy sauce, bringing out that umami right out of that pork. A bit of vinegar, cut through the richness, cut through the fat a bit. It's not a very fatty pork in there. It's a little leaner, but the vinegar definitely adds a dimension to it that you don't get from eating the dumpling as is. We'll go ahead and take a bit of the broth that's mixed with the leftovers of the dip. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's about as close as you're gonna get to the authentic soup dumpling experience outside of eating it at a restaurant or homemade at a Chinese grandmother's home. Go ahead and take the final pork dumpling as I want to try it with my hot sauce mix there. Hot oil, excuse me. And go ahead, just fill it on the end there. And I'm just gonna go right directly into my hot chili oil mix here. Just kind of get in there, nice red in there. The best thing about this dumpling is the filling. Something about that pork filling. Again, really surprised to get that kind of flavor and tenderness and chew from a frozen dumpling. It's pretty impressive. And when I mix that with that hot chili oil, oh my gosh, what an amazing combination. Besides that adding heat to an umami flavor, blends very well. It just really brings out that flavor out of the meat like you cannot believe. I mean, it's, again, as close as you're gonna get to the restaurant experience without going to a restaurant or somebody's home who knows how to cook this stuff. Try chicken dumpling next. Just gonna bite into the cross section here. Nice chicken flavor, good umami in there. Take a look at this sucker. Close up, like the pork, you have a decent little, basically a chicken meatball, a little bit of an herb in there. Yeah, a little bit of scallion it looks like. And pretty tasty. Actually, usually with the soup dumplings, I don't expect a lot out of the chicken. Like I almost always get pork or even a vegetarian one. Because the chicken ones, they're usually just okay. This is actually really tasty. Yeah, we'll finish the rest of this here. Excellent chew. The chew is even better than on the pork, dare I say. Again, the skin's a little thicker than I like, but it's tasty though. It's a tasty skin. It's got a nice chew to it. A nice little al dente covering. Yeah, it's I can live with those results. Let's go ahead and try the next one. Get into our dips here. Chew a little off the top here. Oh. So that one, excuse me a second. So that one was a bit juicier than the others. I bit into it, and some of it squirted onto my nose, and I think a drop got into my nostril. Yeah, a decent amount of soup in that one. I don't know, the other ones, maybe they seeped out a little bit, or I didn't overcook it, so I don't think they evaporated, but this is actually probably a better shot of the inside here if you want to get a bit of a close-up. Yeah, that's a nice chicken ball there. You got your scallion in there. Yeah. The aroma is very similar to the taste, and it's a delicious taste. This isn't some, chain store made wannabe dumplings. This is like the real deal, but frozen. Let's go ahead and get a bit of my dipping sauce. I'm just gonna pour it right into there. I'm not gonna put as much as I did before because there's actually some soup in here to mix it with. Go ahead and just kind of swish that around a little bit. And I'm just gonna take the whole dumpling. Wow, I gotta say that the dipping sauce that I made with the soy sauce, vinegar, and sesame oil. Brings out the flavor even better out of the chicken dumpling than it did out of the pork dumpling. And it did really great with the pork dumpling, but this chicken dumpling, with that, yeah, that's freaking excellent. Into the last one here. Again, nibble off the top. I'm gonna try not to squirt any up my nose this time. So Murphy's Law, I was nice and gentle about nipping a hole in the top. There's less broth in this dumpling than there was in that pork dumpling I was showing you before. So, I mean, maybe a quarter teaspoon or less. One thing I'm not too happy about is the amount of soup in the dumpling. If they would have just passed this off as just regular pork dumpling, regular chicken dumpling, I would have been like, hey, this is freaking perfect. But since they're passing off as a soup dumpling, I'm a little disappointed in the soup amount, but everything else is really good. The flavor is just so there. Once again, direct dip into a hot chili oil mix. Let's just get it really in there, right? Nice red. Got something in the inside, the outside. Go ahead and take that bite. That's so good. Whereas with the regular dip, the chicken was better than the pork. I'm gonna say with the hot oil that it's about equal, the pork to the chicken. But in both cases, it is damn good. So that's my little review of the Mila soup dumplings. 2 flavors I tried, the pork and the chicken. I tried them as is. I tried it with a basic dipping sauce, and I tried it with a hot chili oil dipping sauce. All of it's great. My favorites are chicken dumpling in combination with the regular dipping sauce and the pork dumpling combined with the hot chili oils. All of it's great. I look forward to trying. I know they have a pork and shrimp one. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw that they had a vegetarian one or a vegan one. I know they have some dessert dumplings. I am going to leave a link to their website. So another comment I'm going to make about this too is that at the price point that this comes in, none of these are really cheap, but comparatively, you're still looking at less than $1 per dumpling, which for those in the know, especially if you're out in New York City, pretty much any place that's selling dumplings for less than $1 a dumpling is usually a pretty decent deal. However, you want to keep in mind that these are smaller dumplings, so it's not as great a deal as you might think if you're counting pennies to dumpling. Just bear in mind, they're smaller dumplings. They're about probably a little over half the size of a regular size dumpling. So I think it's about a wash. What about you? Have you tried Mila before? Have you tried their dumplings? Have you tried their other stuff? My understanding is that they make a mean braised beef noodle, but if you have any comments about their dumplings or their braised noodles or anything else by Mila that you've tried, drop it into the comments below. Send me an email if you think there's a particular flavor or item that they had that I must try and or review because I want to know about it. Also, if you know some other name brand of frozen dumplings or similar items to what Mila has, it's got to be in a store that I can get to, like the Chicho's or Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, ShopRite, Walmart, whatever. Let me know what you want me to try and I'll review it and I'll give you a shout out, all right? Because after all, this is your channel too. Thanks so much for watching Starr Quality Kitchen. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and stalk. Laters. Man, typically I take a bite of something and I'm reviewing to say something at the end here before we fade out to like copyrights, but it was so good I ate it all. I guess next time I'll have to make the whole batch to review something.